Good evening, everybody. It's Charlie, and welcome back to the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel for your match review of Leeds United 0, Aston Villa, plus Stuart Atwell 0. We'll get into that, man, in a little bit. The video is probably going to be mainly a rant on the ref. I will pre-warn you, I will try and speak about some of the football that was on display, but there wasn't a lot of football to talk about, was there? Just before we get into it, smash that like button as always. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel and share all of your thoughts and opinions on Stuart Atwell in the comment section down below. So then, where do I start? You know what's funny as well? For like the first 10-15 minutes, I actually felt the ref was okay. I thought he gave a few decisions in our favour that were right. He gave a few in their favour, which were right. But then, I can't remember which challenge it even was, but a challenge happened, and then from that point, the ref just did not have control of the game at all. I don't know what this thing is at the minute with teams that come to Ellen Road, where other than maybe the top six, teams are coming to Ellen Road and time wasting. There's no footballing tactics from the away sides, I don't feel. I think Wolves definitely came to time waste on the opening day. I remember once they went a goal up, they were time wasting. Obviously, didn't end up working for them. The Chelsea game, I don't think they're time wasted. I think we just absolutely battered them. The Everton game, Pickford was at it. The whole of their team was at it once Anthony Gordon scored, but then obviously we ended up equalising and getting the point. And now this one, Aston Villa, who, did a few injuries at the back. We went through it in the preview, but I think going forward they had a lot of talent. Clearly, they've got a lot of talent, and they didn't need to do that. Obviously, in a way, I'm kind of glad they did because they didn't really do anything. But I just don't understand it. Away teams that come to Ellen Road, no footballing tactics. They just want to get a point and move on. Other than, like I say, the top six. We haven't faced any of the top six. Maybe when Arsenal, which is our next home game, hopefully they come and actually, whatever the result, just come to play a football match. That'd be nice. Because, Jesus Christ, it was so frustrating. And the ref was just getting conned by it. Villa, every time they got touched, they were going down like sacks of shit. And yeah, I'm sorry for swearing, but I'm just that annoyed. Shithousing everything. Every time they got touched. Ashley Young, Douglas Luiz, Coutinho, in the ref's ear like that. Every time we touched them. And the ref were just getting conned by it. We were getting mugged off by it. But yet, every time they fouled us, play on, play on. It was probably, and you'll see it in the title, the worst refereeing display, not just in a Leeds game, but what I've ever seen. Genuinely. And I'm not just saying it about the red card, which I will get onto. It's not just about that. From minute one, that ref did not want it to be a football match. Because it wasn't. It was the scrappiest, most boring, awful game of football I've seen at Ellen Road in a while. A draw was probably fair, in all honesty. And I think if Aston Villa could finish, we'd maybe be talking about a different result. But they couldn't even finish the dinner today. Meslier did pull off some very good saves, but in other areas he did look shaky, from set pieces especially. I felt it was coming for balls that he shouldn't have come to, but then he wasn't going to things that he should have done. There was one from a corner or like a shot or whatever where all he had to do was just catch it, but he punched it out, and I was just thinking, like, maybe his confidence was knocked a little bit. But I thought first half, I thought Leeds were the better team. I thought we were on the front foot more. I think we looked more threatening when we were in the attacking area. I thought the midfield was quite solid. I thought the defence looked shaky quite a lot in the first half. I do feel that whenever Villa did break, they looked like they were going to score. We looked vulnerable. Rasmus didn't have a great game again. We spoke about it in the preview. But then God went... I'll get on to Ayling in a little bit as well, but I wasn't happy with him either, if I'm honest. But yeah, I'm trying to think of actual bits of football that I can talk about, but I think there was the Rodrigo shot in the first half, which just narrowly missed. You know, if that goes in, a different game. Felt Harrison was good. Aronson was getting into them little bits of pockets of space, trying to influence things. I think he was holding on to the ball a little bit too long in certain scenarios. Obviously, tried to pick out the perfect pass. Thought Sinisterra, for the time that he was on the pitch, was really good as well, causing them some issues, especially Ashley Young. It's so annoying, is Ashley Young, but anyway. But yeah, like I said, first half, I thought we controlled large parts of the game. Obviously, Aston Villa had their moments where they looked really good going forward and Leeds looked shaky in defence, which we always do, don't we? I was glad that Llorente was dropped. Bit surprised that he put Cooper and Strauch in the same side, and that he didn't go with Firpo. Obviously, Firpo did end up coming on in the second half and actually did okay, if I'm being honest. I don't think he was bad at all, really. But we'll move on to the second half, and I'll be honest, I thought the ref would calm down in the second half. I thought the game might kind of mellow a little bit. I said in my preview, Aston Villa's always a feisty game. It's always tense. There's like a bit of a rivalry there now since that game in the Championship, and yeah, it was like the ref just wanted it to be one of them games, and obviously Sinisterra gets sent off. He had a yellow card in the first half, which obviously being there in the south stand, it didn't look... Yeah, it was a foul, but it was his first foul of the game. It was early on, and it booked him straight away. Rather than just giving him a warning, saying, look, mate, if you do that again, you're booked. Books him straight away, which shouldn't have been a booking, really. And then he gets a second yellow, which, I'll be honest, I kind of looked away and I was like moaning at the ref or something to someone behind me. I didn't actually see what he'd done. But then obviously there was people in the ground saying that supposedly he'd blocked a quick free kick that Villa were trying to take. Which there's two ways to look at it. It's either he wasn't looking at it and they've just deliberately kicked it at him to get him sent off, or he has maybe tried to put his leg out. And I've seen it back, and yeah, I mean, he does stick his leg out. He does attempt to block it. Doesn't actually block it. It actually goes through his leg. But obviously the Villa players were round the ref. You know, he's on a booking, all that jazz, and ends up getting sent off. And yeah, it was maybe a bit silly of him to try and block the quick free kick. It was in their half. It wasn't in a dangerous area. And I'm not even saying that I disagree with the decision. I disagree that the first yellow card was a yellow card, but you know, he lost his head a little bit in that moment. I think purely down to frustration. I'm not going to judge him on that. You know, he had a great game until that point. It's only a one-game ban as well because it was 2 yellows, so he'll only miss the Palace game next week and he'll be back for Arsenal, which is good. But it was the most anti-Leeds refereeing performance. I think LUFC Lewis, yeah. He actually tweeted out saying that it was probably the most anti-Leeds refereeing display since the 75 Champions League final, which I couldn't agree more. I just think, you know, loads of people kind of taking piss a little bit out. They're saying Leeds did well to get a point, 10 versus 12, because of the ref, but you can't argue with it. I mean, how these pundits can just sit there and not even discuss the ref, because that game was purely affected by the ref, in my opinion anyway. I think if the game, I'm not saying don't blow up for fouls when they're actually fouls, but when you can tell that the Villa players are just playing for everything, and then when we get properly fouled, it just lets play go on, and like their keeper taking goal kicks, taking the absolute piss to take a goal kick. No word said to him. Melier does it once in the second half, and ref's going like that. And I just thought, are you actually having a laugh, Atwell? Are you actually having a laugh, mate? Like, are you okay? You know what I mean? And I'm more annoyed because I felt that game could have been a really good game if it hadn't have been for that ref. Whatever the outcome of the game, whether we'd have lost, drawn, won, I think that game was built to be a very good game. First game since, the postponements and the international break. The crowd were up for it. Leeds were up for it. You could tell first 10, 15, 20 minutes, Leeds were up for it. We were on the front foot, trying to make things happen. And I do honestly feel that if Sinisterra hadn't have got sent off, that we could have won that game. I really do. But given the circumstances, given the fact that he got sent off, given the fact the ref was just absolutely abysmal, never seen anything like it. Whether it's watching a game on telly, whether it's going to a game, I've genuinely never seen a refereeing display that bad in my life, and there needs to be a serious conversation had now within the Premier League and the FA and everything. For once, it's not actually VAR that affected anything. It's just the refs themselves are shocking, absolutely shocking. And yeah, people might think I'm just saying it because I'm Leeds and a lot of the decisions went against us. And genuinely, I mind admitting if we'd have fouled someone and it's a yellow card and it's genuine, fine. It happens in football, doesn't it? And yeah, refs get the odd thing wrong, or they might blow up for something that isn't, they might fall for a bit of shithousing from a certain team or player or whatever. But I just think for him to get mugged off and conned that many times, where's Stuart Atwell from? Is he from Birmingham by any chance? Is he a Villa fan? That's the only... And it sounds... But I was saying to people, he's been bribed as this guy. That's the only thing I can think of. It was that bad. For those that didn't watch, it was that bad. I'm telling you. Might be a bit exaggerating maybe because it's still raw of not long being home, but I just think that game was built up to be a very good game of football, and it was just ruined by Stuart Atwell. I do apologise that this review is not really football based because there wasn't a lot of football to talk about. I think Bamford looked good when he come on, just really quickly. Ayling was poor, I thought, when he come on, really poor. I thought Firpo did okay. It was good to see Somerville and Click get on, who I thought were decent enough as well. It'd be nice to have seen Gnonto come on and make an appearance, but we might see him against Palace now. I'm just disappointed more than anything. Take the positives. It's a clean sheet at home. We're still unbeaten at home, which is good. And we move on to Crystal Palace away next week, guys. So, yeah, if you've enjoyed this rant about Stuart Atwell, then hit the like button. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. Share all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next upload. Cheers.